I will try to actually, I will try to explain you how things are arranged, the course curriculum, and then we'll resume back on the specified dates from there on for the rest of the training. Okay, so let me first put forward the thought that how do you utilize this training? Okay, first thing first, as I said, uh, okay, you are able to see my screen, right? The slide is how to utilize this training.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. The few things which I give always the suggestion to every person who's trying for PMP is consider this as a launch pad for your PMP preparation. Okay, this is something like which help you to start your preparation and get all the concepts. So think about that. It is not possible for you that get the training and actually start writing the certification. You have to prepare, as I said. But yes, this will be definitely a good launch pad for you for the PMP certification. Okay. Another thing I generally speak is understand the concept in simplistic way and apply the common sense. As I said, project management is to do a lot with the common sense. You probably when you go through the complete processes, tools, techniques, you think these are the techniques which I generally use, but those are not structured in the mind. You don't know these are the best practices of the industry or not. So what I would suggest is don't complicate the things. Whatever the processes are there, try to apply it into the most simplistic way and try to understand those terms. So that will help you to adopt and absorb the knowledge more. Okay, and also try to pay attention to the gaps in the understanding. So there might be certain things which you are doing and the PMP says something else. So try to pay an attention to the gaps what you have so that those gaps can be bridged upon, right? Another thing is your best practices may not match the best practices of PMP. Probably what you are doing in current job, you probably doing best thing. You are getting promotion, you are getting applause, everything. But the practices, what you are doing may not match what PMP endorses. Okay, may not match. It may or may not match, but you need to be very aware of what PMP says as far as the best practice is concerned and try to absorb and answer that. Many of the project managers, when trying for the PMP exam, they try to think from the experience what they have gained, and they definitely get some wrong answers because PMP says otherwise. So try to pay an attention towards that. So in that case, you probably need to unlearn and learn. So I would suggest keep the mind open. Don't challenge PMP at the straight first level that why PMP is saying that. Yes, definitely you have to have a question why, but try to unlearn and learn. And definitely I'm there to help you in case of there are some challenges in understanding, right? This is something which we have to practice as we go along. Another thing is try to understand what kind of questions are asked in the PMP and then learn the things backwards. So I generally give this as in if someone has gone through the 7 habits of effective people by Stephen Covey, there is one of the habit called beginning with the end in the mind. Okay, what it says, visualize the end and then start with that end in the mind. So here there are two major objectives of our effort. This effort is one is getting the PMP cleared, right? And second is definitely improve our project management skills, right? So getting the PMP cleared, you need to know what kind of questions are asked in PMP. So what I generally do in every session, what we have, I teach you one certain section of the PMP, for example, stakeholder management, communication management, cost management. And on the very day after that, I take you through the certain questions of that so that you understand those questions and then prepare your, as in do the preparation accordingly. So try to pay more attention on what kind of questions are asked, right? Another thing is try incorporating some of these practices in day-to-day work. So it is not necessary for you to go through the PMP certification and then apply these practices in your day-to-day life. What I would suggest, whatever you are learning right now, suppose I teach you some communication practices, the kind of negotiation skills or probably interpersonal skills or any tools of say costing, budgeting, scheduling, what we are learning. Okay. If there is an opportunity in your project, go and start implementing those right away. Don't wait for the PMP certification to happen and do it. That will help you to actually get your concepts clear as we move into it. And this training is for almost 1 month. That is span across 4 weeks. So you have ample of time to practice those in your day-to-day life. Because when I took the training, it was like over couple of weeks training, and then it was a training over the internet, like there were recordings, so I could not get really a chance. But you have a very good chance here, 1 month of training, and in between you have your days wherein you are working there. So try to apply, incorporate these practices in day-to-day work, right? And last but not the least, focus on understanding the big picture and building blocks of project management. So what I mean by that is, when probably you may get drawn, or you may get overwhelmed with the kind of content we are getting to learn in this course. Okay. So don't get overwhelmed. Don't get carried away. What I would suggest, understand the whole picture first. For example, if there is a project, okay, so first understand how the project life cycle works. So project life cycle, for example, starts with initiation, then with planning, then there is execution and execution, then there is a monitoring and control, and finally closing. This is the big picture, right? Any projects you pick up will go through this kind of life cycle, right? So whatever we are learning, try to see how these things will fit into this. If I'm creating a project charter, if I'm preparing a project plan, where does it fit? Is it fitting in the initiation? Is it fitting in the planning, execution? What I do in the execution? You probably need to see the bigger picture when you are doing the detailed study as well. This will really help you in your day-to-day project management as well as clearing this exam. Okay, so I strongly recommend take these tips and utilize this training accordingly. Okay. Moving on to the other part, there are certain ground rules I want to set up before we actually get into the training in the subsequent weeks. So I just want to quickly take you through that. Like first thing first is join the meeting on the time. So there are team members who are like almost we have a batch of 10 to 15 people joining in every batch. So ensure you join 9 or 9:05 so that we start on the time and complete it on the time, right? Have good connectivity. It is utmost important. We are working, rather we are connecting from remote. The Zoom is our communication tool. So it is utmost important for you to have a good connectivity, good headphone. If your laptop mic and headphone, speaker is not working, have good connectivity. This will help you to absorb the content. Otherwise, you will get distracted. Okay. PMP as such, you personally have to be proactive enough to make it interesting. And if the connectivity is not good, you will lose the interest. So get the connectivity, good connectivity if you are not having one. Another thing which I would like to have is let's make these sessions more interactive. I do not want a one-way communication. As you go into more into the details, I probe certain questions and I expect a participation from you. Like if I ask you the nature of the projects, what you are carrying out, you probably come up and share your experiences. So it will not only to make these sessions interactive, but as PMP is not only for one industry, it is for IT, it is for manufacturing, it is for healthcare, it is across all industries. So the experiences from across the industries will help you to absorb the concept. Okay. Why? Because PMP, when you write a PMP exam, the questions will not be coming only from your industry. They may give you an example or scenario from construction industry. They may give you an example from education industry. So one need to actually be very open on the knowledge across different industry, right? It is in that way. Another thing, I generally request a camera to be on, but it really depends on you if you are comfortable or not. But I generally switch on my camera, and even my what you say in my core job when I connect with the team, I generally ask people to switch on the camera because then you can see each other's expression and it becomes more interactive session. But it's up to you. If you guys are not comfortable, I will not enforce this ground rule. Okay. Another thing, keep mute and unmute. As in keep it on mute, unmute it only when you have to answer because it creates a lot of background noise, right? We have to stick to the agenda of the training. I have laid out the complete agenda of the training to be completed in our almost 32 to 35 hours of training, which are also mandatory to gain you the 35 PDUs. So we have to stick to the agenda. What I observed that sometimes we tend to discuss your day-to-day problem. Probably you come up with the problem from your project, okay, and you start discussing this. This may derail our agenda of the training. So we may actually talk about a couple of minutes on any of the topics, but I generally try to curtail the agenda, try to keep it short and try to bring you back to the agenda. So in case there are certain things which are going out of the scope of this training, we can always connect outside and come what you say, have a discussion, but we have to stick to the agenda. otherwise we'll not be able to complete the training in those 8 days, right? Another thing I generally suggest is keep yourself hydrated, have a good breakfast before you start the session because 4 hours of concentration on the Zoom is required. Okay, this is something which I generally suggest to all my trainees. And last but not the least is enjoy this journey. Uh, I would suggest if you are really interested into the project management, want to actually excel in the project management, take this as a important journey. Definitely, there is a destination to achieve the PMP certification, but those 8 days and the kind of preparation, if you start enjoying that, this will be absolute fantastic journey. Okay, so these are the certain ground rules what we have to follow. Okay, uh, from the course outline, now let us come back to the core part of it, how we have structured this course so far. Has anyone gone through any kind of PMP, PMI.org or any website or done some kind of a groundwork in understanding what PMP is? Anyone? Team?
Some idea, bro. No, not as such.
No idea, right? This is fresh slate. Okay. Because some of my team members last time in the previous batch, they had tried the PMP, they went to the training, but they didn't apply for the training. So after 1 year, they started taking it. So that's why I was asking in case someone is having the background. All right. So how we have structured this particular course? Okay. To keep it simple, the first section is about PMP foundation. Okay. Let's create the foundation before we get into the processes part of the project management. So how we have arranged the PMP foundation is Hello PMP, wherein we are actually getting introduced to what PMP is, what is the course outline and the other things about PMP that we are going to cover in next. I think we have left with only 15 minutes. I can try to cover as much as possible, but if we are not able to cover today, we will resume back on the scheduled date and we'll cover it. But we will start with the Hello PMP today. And then once we got introduced to what PMP is, there are some fundamental blocks of project management and the language what we need to use. For example, there is a project, there is a program, there is a portfolio, then there is a roles of project management, then there are other concepts like critical path and all those key fundamental elements. I would suggest it's a kind of a language what we are going to use. So we will spend good amount of time to getting acquainted with this kind of a key terms. Okay, that is what we are going to do in this. And then we are going to talk about the principles and domains. Okay, generally, PMI, which is a kind of a organization which is coming up with this PMP certification, has multiple. There is a book called PMBOK. Has anyone heard about PMBOK? Project Management Knowledge of Body of Knowledge, I would suggest. So basically, they have their publication. So every like in the span of 2 to 3 years, they come up with the latest revision. So the latest revision of PMBOK is PMBOK 7, and which actually drives the things across principles and domain. But there is one more version called PMBOK 6. So our whole course curriculum revolves around PMBOK 6 and PMBOK 7. These are the two books we are going to refer. So these principles and domains are coming from the PMBOK 7, and this will help you to gain the PMP foundation. So this is we are going to cover in the day 1 and day 2. Okay, this is today is the day 0. All right. And then once you have the foundation in place, we are going to go into the traditional predictive method. Okay, there are majorly two types of project management methodology. One is called as traditional or predictive method. In software, it is called as SDLC or waterfall, right? And then there are adaptive methods like Agile. Scrum. Scrum is one of the methods of Agile, right? We have Kanban. So the whole curriculum is actually divided into the traditional and predictive methods and adaptive methods. We will spend good amount of time on day 3 to day 6, almost on understanding the traditional and predictive methods like processes, groups, the scope management, schedule management, cost management, quality management, resource management, communication, risk, procurement, stakeholders. We cover each and every part of it, their processes, tools, techniques, everything. And this becomes our foundation because even if you actually talk about the adaptive methods, many of the concepts from this will be utilized. Okay, so we will spend a good amount of time on understanding these techniques. And PMBOK guide is of 900 pages, and almost 700 pages are about this particular method. Okay, and there are some 100 or 150 pages are for agile. So that doesn't mean that questions on the adaptive or agile methods are less. It is kind of a 60-40 or 70-30 is the proportion in the exam, but we need to understand both. So I will stress more on this traditional, and then we'll see how these things can be adopted in the agile or adaptive methods, right? And then, okay, second. So we will spend day 3 to day 6 on this one, and then day 7 and day 8 we will reserve for the agile methodologies, and then definitely there will be certain session on the exam preparation and tricks and tips. So this is how we have stacked up our 8 days of program spanning across 4 to 4.5 hours every week, every day. That will give you around 35 to 36 hours of period. Okay. Any question on this, guys? Course outline?
No.
All right.
What are the timings?
Timings we generally follow 9 to 1 window on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
Unless there are any public holidays falling on the Saturday, Sunday, we have the sessions 9 to 1. But it generally goes to 1:30 as well with the questions.
And one more question before this certification,
Mhm.
do you have to collect some videos?
No, this training will give you the PDUs.
Okay.
So why we are taking the PDUs, there is a prerequisite for PMP that you need to have 35 PDUs before you apply for the exam. So this training will give you those 35 PDUs. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, so this is how I have stacked the Hello PMP section. So what we are going to cover is what is PMI, what is PMP, okay? Why do generally people go for the PMP? What are your motives or drivers to go for PMP? This is something which I stress a lot, okay? Guys, again, everything else is one thing, but if you have right motives, drivers to go for the PMP, then and then you will be able to take yourself through this training and preparation and go for the PMP exam. If your motives and drivers are like what I would suggest, not 100%. Maybe you are not serious enough. What will happen? You will get the training, then you will get a very critical project in office or some priorities at home, and you will get busy for next 3, 4, 5 months, and then this whole initiative get lost. So I generally tell people that just try to find out your motives, why you are doing it. We call it as the Ikigai. If you have read the book Ikigai, it's like a purpose for which you are doing. So I would suggest everyone after this session, go back and try to identify why do you want to do that. Okay. And then I'll talk about the syllabus, PMBOK reference book, what book we have to refer, qualification criteria for PMP, what the process to be applying for PMP, how you go about the preparation, how do you keep yourself committed, and how do you maintain the PMP certification in case you happen to clear the exam, and there is a cycle of 3 years. Every 3 years, you have to renew the PMP certification. So all this is I'm going to cover in the Hello PMP section. Okay. We are, I think, left with only 10 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll directly jump on the point number 3. What are the motives and drivers to go for PMP, and rest of the things I will cover it in the subsequent sessions. Okay. So I will talk about what is PMI later. But for your groundwork, you can go to the pmi.org website and try to browse it. That will help you to understand what PMI is. In the meantime, we start this, right? So it has all the information related to the PMI and PMP. So basically, PMI is nothing but an university which actually gives you this degree. I have to put it in a simple words. Whatever PMI is in the university, and PMP is the degree. There are many other degrees or certification like program management, portfolio management, but project management professional is the flagship, what you say, the flagship certification from PMP. Okay. So why generally people go for the PMP? Okay, these are the things which I have observed, and from my experience, and even from the place, why did I actually why did I actually go for the PMP 15 years back? So I'll just try to explain you these things, and I would suggest you go back and try to figure out your ikigai or motive for going for PMP. Okay. So first thing first, to build a credibility of yours by achieving the world most sought project management certification, right? So do you agree PMP is kind of not kind of, it's one of the most sought project management certification. That's why you guys are here, right? So this is something like you build the credibility. It is a it actually, once you clear the PMT, probably your confidence in the project management goes sky high, because you know whatever you are speaking actually is from the best practices of PMI. So this is something which will build a credibility in your organization and across the community in which you are working, right? This is something which people are looking for. Second, you are already a project manager and tired of facing some old problems and want to understand the best way of handling it. I have seen this, as in many project managers are doing the work, but they are constantly under the pressure saying that I am facing this problem every now and then. Is there anything which will help me to avoid that? Some kind of a old problems, whether it's a scheduling problem, whether it's a cost problem, whether it's a people problem, or whether it's a stakeholder management problem, or you are facing a problem in the communication. Maybe you are facing a lot of escalations from customer that the communication from the team is not right, or probably you are saying your projects are always going out of budget, your schedules are not under control, right? There could be an issue like you are handling the procurement part, right? You are having the vendors working along with you in project, and you are having a lot of problems handling the vendors there. So if you are having certain problems, PMP lays out the standard practices, and they endorse that if you follow this kind of practices, the problems may not arise. It actually not possible that you will not face any of the problems. Okay, project management is all about handling the problems proactively, but there is no point actually solving the same problem again and again. So let's stick to the problem solution. There are many project managers, almost 30 years, 40 years of experience, whatever they have faced. They have actually come up with the best practices and put it in the PMP course. So why not to learn from their experience, rather than we learn on day-to-day basis, right? This is something which is one of the motives. Another thing is build confidence in yourself that you are currently doing the best practice. This is something which I have personally faced, because when I worked on one of the projects and the almost 15 years back, and I was working with one of the project managers from the client side, and he quoted me that the assumptions are the sources of risk. And don't you know that, as in this is the PMI standard, PMP standard, because we put up almost 50 assumptions in our SOW that time around. And he said, why you are putting so many assumptions? These are sources of risk, make it short. And he said, I am PMP and it endorses, PMP endorses this. So what I understood from that, if you know the PMP, you know the best practices, you can confidently face any of the person in customer side or in your in-house internal team. This is something which you will have to gain out of this PMP certification, right? Again, you are a new project manager, want to ensure you don't make new mistakes, same mistakes which other project managers have done it. So I think there are a couple of project managers in our current audience list. So definitely they would like to understand what are the best practice, and they should not be making same mistakes. This was my business case, my motive also when I took actually the project management 15 years back, right? Another motive is you are an aspiring project manager, want to know what in the project management, start thinking and aligning yourself accordingly. So what does it mean is you want to bring excellence in the project management. You don't want to be an average project manager. You want to grow your project management career. You want to go into project management. You want to go to program management and then portfolio management and so on. Right. Another motive I have seen is some of the organizations requires you to have PMP certification. Okay. Sometimes when the project comes and they ask your project manager needs to be having PMP certification. So there are mandatory requirements. Organization does say that you have to have a PMP certification. That in that case you have to go for that. Right. Another reason could be your peers are having PMP certification. They have cleared it and you are not. So there is a FOMO creeping, right? You want to do it. Fear of missing out, I would say. You want to get onto the PMP bus and clear that. That could be one of the reasons. And last but not the least, yes, definitely PMP will bring more weight on your resume, LinkedIn, and then definitely a compensation, and all those are the other factors which will help you. So I have outlined this motives or drivers for going for PMP. You may have your own one. Okay, so I strongly recommend take this as as in put it on the paper. My motivations, put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Write it on the paper, stick onto the wall to remind you daily that why you are going for it. So this will help you to actually keep the preparation on and get the certification clear. Okay, so I probably would like to stop at this stage. I'm happy to take up any questions you have, please.
Yeah. Hi, this is Anupia.
Yes, Anup.
So yeah, I want to know the difference of what is a program manager and a project manager. Is it the same or there are some difference in that?
No, it's absolutely different, Anup. Okay, projects are like which has definitely start date, end date, and you as a project manager handle it. But suppose there are initiatives in the organization which requires you to have different projects to be conducted. Okay. Uh, One of the example I probably can give is there is a program that was initiated in my organization, that digitization drive in my organization, saying that we need to automate most of our processes into the digitization. So there was a program called digitization, and under that I had like project management digitization, HR digitization, then we have finance digitization. So every project is there, and it rolls up to a bigger program called digitization. Okay, so program needs to be managed separately, which is done by the program manager, and project will be managed by the project manager individually. But all this roll up to a program. So there is a separate certification for program management. Anup.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Anything else, Steve?
Adnan here.
Yes, Abhi.
So once this training is completed, so
Hmm.
basis that we'll get the certification from your end, and later we have to opt for the PMI certification. Is this both different or it's same?
Okay, I'll tell you what it is. This is the qualification for PMP exam. So you have to have 4-year degree, bachelor's degree here, and 36 months of unique non-overlapping project management experience. And then you at least have to have at least 35 contact hours of formal project management education. This is what we are going to get. So out of this, you will get a certification. And when you are applying for the PMP exam, you need to mention from where have you gotten this 35 contact hours. It will be validated in some way or other. So yes, this will be at, but this certification is not a PMP certification. This is certification is for you have already received 35 contact hours of formal project management experience or other education, which is a prerequisite for PMP qualification. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Abhijit, one question.
Yes.
So is there any prerequisite or mandatory from PMI that you should have experience into project management before appearing in PMP
Yeah. If
certification
you could
exam?
see here, can you see here? I'm forwarding my this one.
Yeah, I'm able to see. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so what it
mentioned.
says
Yeah.
is minimum 3 years, 36 months of unique non-overlapping professional project management experience. So what it does is, even if you don't have exactly the project management experience, but if you have worked in a project as a senior lead or something wherein you have managed the team, you have done some kind of customer handling, you have probably created a schedule for your demos. So something which is overlapping with project management experience, as in the task. Okay, I will probably tell you how it is there. But when I took the project management, I was not having exactly a project management experience. But I did
Mhm.
certain things which were categorized into project management. As a lead, you definitely manage the team also, right? You probably create some kind of agenda of the meeting. You create some kind of a schedule. That also falls under the project management, even if you don't have formal designation as a project manager.
Abhijit, how does PMI, verify this particular eligibility?
Okay,
Is there
I'll
any?
tell you, there is an application here. Okay. Okay, this is certification. Generally, क्या होता है? I'll just show you. Let me start this. I think I have other team members also joining in. Let me see. Keyur, Mahendra,
Yes, sir.
just give me 5 minutes.
Okay, not an
Okay.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
इसके बाद So what happens? This is who asked this question, Anup? You?
Abhimanyu.
Abhimanyu.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Abhimanyu, what happens is when you actually get all the prerequisites like 35 PDUs and all, you have to fill up this form there, okay, online form. So you have to mention your project management experience and you have to fill up all those things like how many hours you have done initiating, planning, execution. And what happens under that experience, you have to mention the references and the email IDs of the project manager or the team members with whom you have done. So what happens out of 100, there is one random check that happens and you may receive an audit request. And earlier it used to be like a manual one, but nowadays they are directly sending the emails to the respective contacts. And they get the email, they revert back on the email and it will get validated. So it is like a 1 out of 100.
Understood.
Anything else, team? We are good.
Maybe there is another alternative for this is like, if we don't have a direct experience of project management, we can go for CAPM first and then we can go for PMP, right?
Yeah, you can follow that rule that because CAPM then gives you the experience that is required for PMP, but it is not mandate. Okay, I have not seen many of my colleagues directly going for CAPM. CAPM is relatively lower kind of as in it comes in the ladder down the PMP, but yeah, it's not mandatory. If you have certain experience as a kind of a team working in the team also, you probably can categorize your experience into project management.
Yeah. So this is already mentioned in the PMI website already, right?
Exactly, exactly.
The CAPM, then PMP.
Yes. But it is not something like I'm trying to tell you again that you don't have to have a formal PM project management designation to get the project management experience. Even if you are working as a developer or a technical consultant or a kind of a lead in your project and you are doing certain activities which, for example, you are preparing a schedule for your code delivery that I will deliver it for next 10 days. This 2 days I will do this, 2 days I will do that. So that also come under kind of a project management. Okay. So yeah, you are right. But yes, you can have a CAPM also.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else, guys?
Just a small query, like what is the difference between PMP and Prince2? If you can just put us on light on it.
Okay. In simple terms, if I want to put it, majorly PMP is from US and Prince2 is from UK.
Okay.
Okay, so Prince2 majorly the projects from UK they ask for Prince2 certified project managers because that is originated in the UK and they have that practices imbibed there. And PMI is from US, PMP is from US, but it is more renowned than Prince2, I would suggest. This is on the technical side, but in the subject matter, what I have seen is PMP stress lot on the project management as a project manager. But Prince2 is more into kind of a team which is having a project director and a project manager doing the work together to deliver it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, is there any criteria for completing the Prince2?
No, there is no criteria for completing this.
Okay, so anybody can do that.
Yeah, it is relatively lighter than PMP.
Okay, okay. Okay, so is it adding any value after completion of Prince2 for PMP certification?
You are saying, is there any value to be added for PMP or Prince2? Or
Prince2.
Again,
Okay.
I have seen people as in going for Prince2 when there is a need in the project, and you know that there I might get a chance to work in the UK or UK side projects. Okay.
Yeah.
But again, the knowledge will help you because most of the concepts are overlapping. Okay,
Mm.
60-70% of overlapping, but framework is bit different. So any certification of project management will definitely help you. But again, organization geography also matters. The project demands also matter.
So what would you suggest that if, as we said that we do not have any kind of experiences for this project management, and it is a zero experience for us, we are a
Mm.
fresher into it.
Mm.
So what would you suggest that do we need to go through the Prince2 or can we go for another things like PMP and all?
Okay, first thing first, again, what kind of project do you see yourself will be working in future? As in, is it Indian project, US project, UK project, Australia project? कैसा है नहीं? And do you have kind of a more preparation readiness? I definitely recommend PMP if you want to have a more detailed kind of understanding of project management. Okay.
Right.
If you are absolutely a fresher and want to learn nooks and corners of project management and ready to do the preparation, I would suggest PMP.
Right.
यानी ये बहुत डिटेल में है PMP, but yes, it requires a lot of preparation.
हाँ,
More
लेकिन ये
preparation
जो
than-
हाँ, ये जो क्राइटेरिया रखा हुआ है 36 मंथ का,
हम्म।
वो थोड़ा मतलब वो
नहीं, they
PMP
say
के
that otherwise college grads will start applying for PMP. Understood? And this is not for freshers. This is for the experienced people. Otherwise, they will not be able to understand what this language is being the language that is being spoken.
राइट, ठीक है सर.
और कुछ ठीक क्वेश्चन है तो you can always contact Kunal and other team member for this 36 months of unique experience. They can help you to understand your what experience is and how to draft it. कि कैसे इसको एप्लीकेशन में डालना है. Okay, but
And-
more than 36 months of experience and all, I would suggest, are you really mentally prepared कि ये preparation मुझे करना है, मुझे PMP निकालना है? If you are mentally prepared for that, yes, this can be actually managed. You can take a help from the team and see how you put your experience into this 36 months. I'm not saying manipulating the experience, but it's articulating in this right way. Okay.
Hey, hi, Adnan here.
Yes, Adnan.
Yeah, so I like the fundamentals, and I live and die with the PMO task in my organization.
Hmm.
What I need to know is this: after PMP, what is the next level? Is it some masters or is
This is
this
PGMP, program management.
program management
Yes.
with the PMI?
Yes, PMI. You have project management, program management, and then portfolio management.
Okay, okay. So last is portfolio.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Anything else, team? I think we are good. Thank you so much for joining.